Welcome to Average Joe's Gym's Home Projects, where we do projects and maintenance at home that even an average Joe can accomplish. In today's episode, we're going to replace this faucet in my kid's bathroom. I picked up a new one, but this one's going to be no easy task. I've got to replace both valves coming out of the wall so I can use 2 new braided hoses to the new faucet. Here's the 2 new valves that are going to go in the wall and the 2 braided lines that are going to go to the faucet. I'm going to need those wrenches and a little extra hard work to get this one done. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the water to the house just so I avoid a disaster once I start taking things apart. Let's do it. That bucket right there is going to become super important here in a second. As soon as I unhook this copper line, I'm going to have to drain all the water out of the attic. Right through that one line. Ah, the joys of doing plumbing. There never seems to be enough room to get your wrench in there. But with a little bit of patience and some different sizes, eventually you're going to get it. Remember how I mentioned you have to empty the whole attic out that one line? I actually had to dump out that bucket like 5 or 6 times. Luckily, I could just edit all that out so you don't have to see it. So the water valve is attached there with a compression fitting. You just need 2 wrenches to kind of work your way through it and eventually remove the whole valve. Don't forget to drain out the water first. If you go straight to this without emptying the water out into a bucket, you're going to end up with a flood in your bathroom. So I'm a huge fan of liquid pipe thread sealant. It just works better for me than trying to use Teflon tape all the time. It's up to you though, and there are people out there who say you should use Teflon tape and completely avoid the liquid stuff. I've had pretty good luck with it, so that's what I went with. Once one valve's done, it's time to start the second one. The second one's always a little bit easier because once you've done one, you have a little bit of confidence. Here's a quick unboxing of the Moen Banbury, which is the style of faucet that I purchased. If you hit pause right here, that's the model if you're interested in this one. Moen puts pretty decent instructions in with their new faucets. I took a quick look at it, and it was pretty easy to follow. So this was probably the biggest challenge of removing the original faucet. There's plastic nuts that hold the faucet in place. Whoever installed this one also put glue in there to hold the nuts in place. I had to use a screwdriver and a hammer to tap them loose. One of the nuts came loose from the glue, while the other one I had to actually break in half to get to come off. While I was in there, I also disconnected the drain plug. Now the old faucet should just lift right out of the sink now that there's nothing holding it. I suggest you give it a good cleaning and disinfecting now that you've removed the faucet. The next one might not match up with the lines that are left from the original. Don't forget to put the rubber gasket on the new faucet. You need it so you can get a good seal against the sink. Now you're just going to put the new plastic nuts on there and create some tension to hold the faucet. Now it's time to remove the old drain pipe. Before I started with this pipe wrench, I actually had already loosened the plastic fittings. Removing the drain plug lever is actually pretty easy. You just loosen this cap on the back and then take out the lever. This part gets a little gross. This is where you take apart the drain pipe and you discover what your kids have been putting down the drain over the last 4 years. It's never anything pretty, so if you're faint of heart, you might want to fast forward through this. Absolutely disgusting. Just watching it during the editing process makes me sick to my stomach. The plug's not much better. I mean, who knows what that is? It was probably old toothpaste mixed with hair and other stuff. Finally, the new plug goes in and the new drain pipe. This one should go on pretty easy. It's got a rubber compression fitting at the top, so you should just be able to screw it in there and tighten it up against the rubber fitting. Use some muscle. You're going to want that sucker pretty tight, because if it's loose, you're going to have a leak right there at the drain. Next is the drain plug lever. When you stick it in there though, you have to make sure you catch the bottom of the plug so that when it lifts, it actually opens up the drain on top. Once you've got it, and you pick up your cap after you dropped it, you just slide it over and screw it on. Now the piece that goes on is the one that attaches to that lever and then to the one that goes up through your sink and is on the back of your faucet. You might have to do a little guess and check with this part of the project. You want to make sure you get the right hole so that when you lift up on the lever on the back, it'll actually close your drain. And when you push it down, it'll open it. If you don't leave enough space, your drain won't open when you want it to. Once I discovered which hole I wanted, I removed it and included the locking clamp this time, so it would hold it in place. Now that that's done, it's time to put the drain pipe back on. Should be simple, should be the same diameter, and you'll be able to use the same pipe that you used before. Now we're on the home stretch. All we gotta do is hook up these braided lines to the new faucet, and we are gonna be back in business in no time. Looks like no leaks so far. Let's take a look how it works up top. So here it is, a completed faucet removal and replacement with a new one for my kid's bathroom. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this project, please check out our other projects on Average Joe's Gyms home projects. And please like and subscribe for future projects.